Well, thank you guys for spending your time with me this morning. That's the most important thing that I think you can give somebody is your time. And so I really appreciate it. And I take my hat off to you guys for investing in improving really everything about your career. You're getting better at teaching lessons. You're understanding better how to, how the horse moves and how riders learn. And then today, also your business skills. And I think that is something that historically riding instructors, horse trainers have really neglected, and you can really see the result of a an industry that has very little business skills. This is my entire theory about the horse industry is they and I was laughing at the very like ominous good luck uh, um, comment because I think you're hinting at like teaching the horse industry business skills. Everyone can agree that's a big challenge, but it's something that I've taken on, and the results have been really good. So let me kind of get into some of the results of our work, and then I like to just have a um, open discussion. And so if you guys want to stop me, um, I'm more than happy to dive into a particular topic. It's a small group, so we can dive into a particular area. So, we help basically people build their program, improve their pricing, and delegate the program. So the result is better work-life balance, better profitability. And we attack it on a few different fronts. Catherine, really helped uh, get a ton of new leads. We helped Lauren add about 100,000 in revenue a year. We helped sellers, really firm up her policies, so she didn't have people flaking on her so much anymore. We helped Brianna do the same thing, onto auto pay and kind of streamline her onboarding process. We helped Angie really get back and really implement everything. And I'll tell you what everything is. And the result was uh, you know higher prices, stronger commitments, more students, and a team. So she got room to breathe. We helped Allison. She's after 2 months she revamped things, but now today she's added 200,000 in revenue. We helped Shayna really quadruple her program. We helped Julie kind of move to some more modern systems and increase her income. We helped Jennifer Williams really go from feeling defeated to kind of falling back in love with her job. Tina has added 300,000 in revenue. This is my favorite one. We helped Val get more clients. We helped Nicola go from 20 to about 80 at the height, so quadruple her business. We helped Charlie 14x her business. We helped Kim add 47% income. We helped Beth triple her, no, double her business. So it goes on and on. I won't read them all. I'll get more into Erin's specific case study. She's added about 30,000 in monthly recurring revenue with this system, which is about 500,000 a year in revenue. Candace went from breaking even. She now makes 200,000 in profit. Rebecca, doubled her business, and Sandra um, uh, strengthened her policies, had a good result. Caitlin, in her 20s, was able to buy a property using these things, and that was cool. She owns her own property, and she's only 23 or something. No, she's 29. So she got it. She was trying to do it before she was 30. She's one to look out for. In Kentucky, Kelsey also was able to buy her own property with this system. And Jenny Moyer, um, you know, uh, we kind of helped her stay alive. She's hit some struggles. So also, if you want the slides and this presentation, you can write down this phone number and just text slides. And later today, I'll edit the video, and I'll send you the video and the slides if you want it. So that's the number if you want it. So really, the case study here is that uh, let's look at Aaron. So Aaron really added 75 new students that pay her 395 a month. Um, and so that's 30,000, and actually today it's over 80. And I'll tell you what I'll tell you the different levers. I think of them like as levers you can pull in your business. And I'll just cut the fluff and tell you the levers that we pull in a business like Aaron's in Florida. So if you really look at some of the different components of your business and the decisions you can make, it starts off with what services can you really offer? Um, you guys have a great skill set, right? So you could offer lessons on lesson horses. You could offer to work with horse owners and board their horses and work with horse owners. And you should do all of this, right? And you could do horse sales. You could do clinics. You could create online courses. And you're probably wondering, a big thing is like, well, what should I lean into? Um, and I'll save the suspense. As a foundation, I like to lean into the lesson on lesson horses to create that pipeline, and it leads to all these other things. These other things are, in my opinion, they're very important, but they can be like the gravy of your meal, and the lessons on lesson horses can be the protein of your business. And I'll tell you why I really lean into that um, to get people to get their businesses healthy. The pricing, right? A lot of people are like pay by the lesson. That's the industry standard. And it's often not enough when you really look at your fixed costs and you really look at like I want to be able to travel to Florida and work with Michelle, and what is fueling that? You want to buy a flight, you want to get a hotel, you want to pay for the fee, like all these things kind of for you to be able to grow and get better, the pricing lever is something I'm going to teach you how to pull and really improve your pricing. If nothing else, this is the easiest lever to pull to really strengthen your pricing, and it makes an exponential difference in the whole business. Then the next thing is, you're offering the right services, you've got really strong pricing, but if you don't have leads and you're the typical riding instructor that's like word of mouth is something, of course, it's incredibly powerful, but it's also a way for a business owner to lie to themselves that they don't know how to advertise. They say, well, I've always found word of mouth is powerful, and they sound good, but the truth is that it's not enough. And I'll teach you guys how to, get clients with predictability. Um, and then, the software component, I think that these things are a little bit in linear order. You can have a big business without really any fancy software, but it helps a lot to really uh, lean into software and technology. Um, I remember I got left behind in college. I had the typical film camera, and when digital cameras came out and everybody was taking pictures, I said this is a fad, and there's something beautiful about developing your film and taking the time to take a good picture. But anyways, I was wrong, and it's way better to just take a lot of digital images and pick the best one. And so from that point forward, I realized that there's going to be a huge advantage to staying up to date with technology, and you shouldn't fight it. You should lean into it. And if you're not, you're really going to get left behind. And obviously, the new wave of technology is artificial intelligence. But if you haven't really stayed up to date, then you're not really ready to implement and harness artificial intelligence, because you haven't even, most people that I work with, like they don't really know how to even really work a computer. So I really encourage people to stay up to date on this, and I'll give you some tools for that. And then having an actual curriculum. I can't tell you how many riding schools don't have a documented curriculum. They don't have transparent milestones. They don't have recognition. They don't keep track of where they're at. They don't have documented lesson plans. And I think of all of that as your recipe. And I know a lot of you are trying to scale with the team. And I think that's absolutely the right vision, is to imagine yourself managing a team that does it. But if you don't give that team the lesson plans, the curriculum, and first of all, writing it down, and another way, having a way to train them on that, then it's like a restaurant hiring chefs and not giving them the recipe. And then the customers eat different food depending on who's cooking that day, and the results are very unpredictable. And then the restaurant owner, this is what I hear from the riding instructor is, oh, no one can teach as good as me. No one can cook as good as me. And that's a big trap that all of us fall into. And I think it's ego driven. I love to go in and save the day in my business. I love, my ego loves to be able to see a team member of mine struggling and just go in and right in front of them show them like how awesome I am. But the problem with that is it's very disempowering to your team, and you rob your team of the experience of figuring out themselves and of learning how to do it themselves. And you create this upstream delegation. Upstream delegation is like when the person you hired is asking you to come do their work for them. And when that happens, you need to push it back on their plate and give them the training to do it themselves, teach the lesson themselves behind closed doors, review their lessons with them, and show them how to teach a better lesson themselves, because you're like, this is why I hired you, you know, so I don't have to do it. And so a big part of that is getting really, really good at documenting. So when you learn better better teaching strategies in these workshops, you got to document them for your team. And the best way to do that is by videoing it. And so it doesn't take any extra time, but the best riding schools are videoing everything they do. And so that way it doesn't really take any extra time, because you're saying, look, just record me doing what I do. And this is everything from how I like my horses fed, where I keep my grain, what horse goes in what, how I like you to put the halter on. I had a friend who they really they found this horse was really his eye was really damaged, and he went back through he used video, but he did it like surveillance cameras. So he went back through his surveillance cameras and found that the way that the grooms put on the halter, they he prefers that they slip the halter on without unbuckling it. But they were unbuckling it and then reaching over, and they would slap the headpiece, and it would sometimes hit the horse's eye. And so he obviously laid off that employee, he screamed in their face. But I'm sort of like, did you ever provide a training of how you like your halters put on? No. You just assumed, right? And so that's kind of the typical riding instructor, and then scream in their face. But you have a leg to stand on if before you hire me as a groom, I watch the video of how you want your halter put on. And look, he's meticulous about everything he wants done, but he never really trained anybody on it. He just the training that I've experienced in the horse industry, because my story is yeah, like I'm 43 now, but I've worked for everybody, not everybody, but I've worked in Germany, and the training I get is, day one, go do your job. And then every now and then the boss would just come in and just scream at me, especially in Germany. That's the German training system. But I was like, man, I would have loved it, because the odds of me growing up in the United States, the odds of any riding school that I land at, of the way that I do things being the way that you want things done, is zero. from A to Z of how you like your stalls cleaned, how you like your horses fed, how you like your horses ridden. They didn't like the way I rode. They didn't like the way I cleaned stalls. They didn't, but if you just train me, I'll be happy to do it your way because I don't want to get screamed at, right? I want to do a good job. And so a lot of you guys really need to get good at that. Excuse me for one moment.
Exactly that. He gave you everything.
Excuse me, I'm really sorry. My house cleaners are here and the door was locked. And that actually is where I'll teach you because I think a lot of you guys want to have that time back, right? Because I started off by saying that time is the most important thing. And so my first strategy for you guys to get your time back is to delegate all of the personal chores of your life. And this is from cleaning your house to grocery shopping to laundry to tidying. Tidying is like what I hired someone to do because the cleaners just want to clean. They don't want to tidy. And then there's that whole thing of like, you're like, Mom, why are we cleaning before the cleaners get here? And you're like, you're not cleaning, you're tidying. And that takes a ton of time. And so the average person is kind of spending 20 hours a week, probably eating, cleaning, preparing meals, grocery shopping, cleaning up after the meals, laundry, and it's exhausting. You're tired before you even get to your business. And so the personal the mindset of delegation is and the process is pretty similar for everything that you want to delegate. It's yeah, record the way that you want your laundry done and where each thing goes. It's cast a wide net and get on job boards and interview people that can do this job. And then it's making a good decision about who you hire um, and then managing them on a basis and giving them feedback and encouragement and you know positively reinforcing things rather than just screaming at them and then obviously coming to the conclusion, oh, I'm the only one that can do this. And so I recommend practicing like the cleaners are going to be like, what? Like no one has ever, you know, no one has ever like given me like something this good. And that's where you want to be because you want to practice on something that's low stakes. Because usually this you know that job is going to be um, you know minimum wage potentially. It's not going to have a big risk, meaning it's not going to destroy your business if you get it wrong. And and it's got a high reward. Like you might get 10, 20 hours a week back of energy and time. And it's reversible, right? If you don't like the personal chores you hired, or you can always take it back and do your own grocery shopping. Um, but yeah, you know, record like this is where the aisle is. This is what I want you to buy. I want like, you know, my wife is like, oh, bought the wrong pretzels or whatever, and it's like, well, did we specify, right? So learning how to delegate, that's where you want to practice a little bit, and and yeah, cast a wide net. Go on care.com. That's where I found all my personal people, and I practice that. And then the big one is the executive assistant. Okay. And we've had a lot of success hiring people offshore that do all of our scheduling and all of our client communications. Those two things in a riding school, you guys know, is another 30-hour a week, right? And so a lot of people in the same thing. You can record your screen now using a software called useloom.com is the most popular one. And you can record, this is how we schedule. This is the script. This is how we respond to clients. And now they have somebody doing their laundry, and they have someone doing their scheduling and their their client communications, sort of like a front desk, right? And so many riding instructors don't have a front desk. And what they end up is with all of your expertise, and you're not really spending a big enough portion of your time like in your area of genius, right? You're a you're a 50-year instructor. You are a centered riding instructor. Like you know Sally Swift's method, right? Which is incredible. You know how to hold the reins as if there's a bird in your hand. But what are you spending your time on? Scheduling, rescheduling, canceling clients, onboarding new clients. You're just a front desk person most of the time. And so you're exhausted by the time, and then you're exhausted by the time it's to teach that amazing lesson, you know, and then you just mail in the lesson. Um, so I think that, you know, just getting those two things, you know, if you haven't really delegated your laundry, and a lot of people are straight to, well, I'm going to hire a team of riding instructors, you're probably going to fail at that, and that's high risk. Anytime you're hiring somebody to interact with your clients, there's a huge risk. There's the risk they're not good enough and your clients leave and the business gets destroyed. There's the risk that they leave, they take all of your secrets and they leave and they compete against you. So you want to do that last, right? You want to get really good at delegating. And and the executive assistant is also kind of low risk. You can always, it's reversible. If you don't like the way they're scheduling and talking to people, then you can let them go and take it back yourself. And that is what you should do quickly when anyone on your team you identify is not really obviously what I hire for are values, and the values that I hire for are hungry, humble, and smart. And that there's that ominous like good luck, right? Um, because if they're missing one of these characteristics, uh, like in a big deficiency, if you look back at all the people that didn't work for you, it's probably because either they weren't hungry, meaning like you can't even get them to show up. They're constantly like sick, and you're like, look, my back hurts too, buddy. Um, you know, I've got a sniffle too, you know. Um, and so if they're not really hungry, and you kind of give them like everybody loves that hungry employee where there's no job beneath them, and they'll step up, they'll do it. They're like, oh, thanks for this opportunity. If you get that, that's huge. But then, you know, there's humble. So like I want to give you, you know, some feedback, and they're like defensive or like I want way more money. My values is just you know they want way more money, and they lose their humility, and it can manifest itself like they end up kind of terrorizing other team members. Other team members will come to you and just be like, this person thinks they're like, you know, the queen around here. And then smart, you just can't fix stupid. Like it's hard to fix. Theoretically, I haven't had a lot of experience, a lot of success in fixing character defects, but theoretically, you can fix hungry by motivating somebody. If there's like a small defect, you can fix it, and you should try to motivate. If they're not humble, theoretically, people can become more humble. Um, I haven't had success in that, but smart is kind of the thing that like can't really fix, even in theory. So if they have those characteristics, then you can really train them to do anything. And I really try to build a team that is hungry, humble, and smart. And that's where, you know, you got people you can just tell them what you want done, and there's no drama. They're smart, they figure it out. Got a lot of team members that didn't know anything about my business, and that's almost better because I want to train you my way, right? And I will. So you know, that's kind of the order of hiring: personal assistant, executive assistant that does your scheduling and your client communications. Then you got your stable managers, right? Which is also less risk because they're not really interacting with the client. I'm talking about the people that are going to clean stalls and feed the horses and turn them out. And you should practice training them. And then comes the high risk, right? And this is really the what all of your delegation skills are building to, and what Michelle is really investing, right, in your successor. And that person um, uh, a real opportunity to take your business to a new height and to retire you and to continue your legacy. They also have the opportunity to completely destroy everything you've worked for, right? So you want to practice low stakes. Um, and then by the time you're hiring a manager to take over your business, um, you know how to train. You know what characteristics they're looking for. You have incredible training for them. You invest in them. You know how to create a culture. Um, so let me kind of get into the case study and go back and give you more specifics. The 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 case study is really uh, we'll use Aaron, who really worked with me for like 4 years and learned everything I do, and implemented, right? Because learning is one thing. It's great to pick up a book, right? It's great to kind of OD, and it's great to read all of Sally Swift's books. But if you don't put the book down and go get on a horse and try some of these things immediately, then it's not really learning, right? Learning is applying the knowledge. And Erin did all that. So she started off like a lot of people. They're like, look, I want to work with these horse owners and apply like these things. I don't want to teach uptowns. And the problem with that is there's just not the price point is pretty high to get into there. Meaning, to really be interesting, you need to at least have a $20,000 horse. You know, a lot of times nowadays, you guys know the for it's hard for me to be excited about $20,000 horse, um, most of the time. Um, most of the horses, right, that I'm like, oh, that would be incredible to ride that horse. Go ask the owner what they want for it. Um, so I'm not saying you can dig up a deal, but I'm not going to dig up a deal for everybody. Meaning, I'll scour the world to dig up a deal for myself, but I don't really have time to do that for all of my clients, to be honest. I'm kind of like, can we pay the market rate for the horse you need? What does that cost? I could maybe get done for 25,000. Um, and what do you want per month? Well, 2,000 is going to be like the minimum if for board, shoes, lessons. And we really break out, my sales presentation now to new clients is I start by showing them, like, this is like the typical up down person. I show them the cost of horse ownership. I'm like, look, you're going to spend between 20 and infinity, but we'll just say between 20 and 8,000 on a horse. Um, you're going to spend like 2 grand a month just on kind of like basic board and lessons and shoes and vet. You're going to need equipment on top of that. And the problem with buying your own horse is that they can go lame, and you're going to be stuck paying those bills forever. Not forever, but I mean, you're stuck paying bills on a horse. You've invested 100,000. You get no benefit. And so this is I show this to the person coming to take their first lesson, right? And I also remind myself, like, if that is your only client, you're looking for somebody that A, is willing to pay all this, B, is unhappy with their current trainer, and C, likes, knows and likes and trusts you, is willing to make this commitment with you. It's a small market. And so I want these clients, but I understand it's a small market and I have to create them myself. So that's why we lean into lesson on lesson horses. After I show them this, because part of your salesmanship is to anchor in a really high number. Okay. So after you really show them this, because they came to your school, and a lot of times if you really talk to them, they say, uh, you know, my daughter really wants her own pony. And but we'll start, we came here to take a lesson. And so after that, Aaron is saying, look, it's only $395 a month. That's out the door, and that's going to really get you started with a top of the line riding experience. You're never going to get a vet bill. You're never going to get I'm paying these incredible costs, but you never have to. And then they're like, oh yeah, that number now doesn't really seem that. And it includes unmounted horsemanship. It includes social events. It includes my curriculum and award ceremonies. It includes weekly riding lessons. But the terms and conditions are really strong. There's no makeups. You're still paying this even if you get sick the whole month. There's a 60-day cancellation policy, and we're closed 6 weeks a year, and that's all built into this monthly price. And when you present it like that, she got 80 people to say yes to this, right? Where the average person is charging $40 a month per lesson. This is basically one lesson a week, um, and that's that price lever. So when it took a lot of like mental work for her to be like, this is worth it, and like pouring over the numbers of what she spends, and then this money, it allows her to invest in a better experience for the client, and it allows her to build a school that is really elite. If your prices are low, you're not going to be able to buy that good of a lesson horse. You're not going to be able to hire that good of people, right? You just can't. So better pricing is is the foundation for everything. Um, and then you can see we really helped her build sort of like a ladder, because then I want to get you here, and then she's got other offers that aren't on here, with like a half lease, and then let's buy your own horse. And this pipeline works. Not everybody, but even if nobody upgrades, she can still pay her bills on the lesson horses, because these clients grow on trees compared to like the average person that has an extra 395 sitting around is there's a lot of people that have an extra $395. Not saying that they're not going to have to cancel gymnastics and baseball. I'm not saying that they might have to sacrifice something, but they have the money. They could do it if they want to. Now, not that many people can really pony up and buy their own horse and board it and train it and show it. Like, but you can make the sale to a lot of people, and especially when you explain that the benefits of this program are your kid is going to stay out of trouble, your kid's going to become more responsible, more empathetic. This is a lifelong sport your kid is going to get to enjoy until they're like, I mean, do you guys know people that are older and still riding, still involved, still, right? Do you know people that play lacrosse beyond 30? Do you know people that do gymnastics beyond 14? Do you know people that do really soccer beyond 30? Basketball beyond 30? I do see some people playing basketball, but this is one of the few lifelong sport. Like, you got to really understand the salesmanship behind this, and then 395 a month becomes possible. And so you got to get sold first, and look at a lot of these schools that, when they were like she was like at $50 a month or something, just stupid. Not $50 a month, $50 a lesson, right? And with no terms, no terms, meaning, hey, if you come, it's $50, but hey, if you cancel on me or just don't show up, like, you're not going to pay. And a lot of people are like that, and you can't build a business with that. The other beauty of this is it's on auto pay, so she doesn't have to invoice. That's a huge benefit. Auto pay versus invoicing. Invoicing is a nightmare. If you have 80 students every month and trying to figure out, it's creating the invoice and seeing who paid. So that's like the foundation of it. Um, any questions on that? Is this making sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Um, the other thing, that we did with her is, she was kind of like your typical word of mouth. Word of mouth is like, uh, it's almost arrogant, right? I'm like, my business is going to grow because everyone's talking about me. And so I realized, like, you guys probably never even heard of me. Um, and so I need to get in front of you. Like, I'm probably obscure, and I need to become known. Advertising is the process of becoming known, right? I've got this phenomenal tool for you guys, and uh, I've got a phenomenal product for parents in my area. I have a riding school here. I live on a farm in Maryland, and I have a riding school. But if you don't know about it, if you don't know that I exist in your backyard, um, and I'm just expecting the community to be talking about me, you know, isn't that kind of arrogant? Um, so I advertise heavily everything I'm doing because I'm proud of what I do, and I'm like, you guys should know about this. It's like I have the cure for if I had the cure for lupus, like I've been telling everybody, like I got the cure. I really do. I really do. Um, so we helped her set up paid Facebook ads, and I'll show you how we launch those, um, and how you can target people. Paid Google ads. So if you search for horseback riding near me, she shows up first. She does open houses, um, and you want to have referrals. Um, the other thing you can do is add partnerships with Parks and Rec. In some ways, that can be huge. But this is really the foundation of it is paid Facebook ads in my system. And this is what blew her up because it's not about doing everything. It's about doing one thing and doing more and more and more of it if it's working. It's not about doing a little bit of everything. So if all you do is get really, really good at one way of acquiring a client, then you want to do more and more and more of it. This is a really important concept in every part of your business is that if you find something that's working, don't don't be an inch deep and a mile wide, right? Go deep and narrow and get better and better and better. Do more and more and more and get better and better and better at the one thing. And so for us, it's really paid Facebook ads. And like the beauty of it is it's very consistent and very reliable for a riding school. So I'll show you my ads. What you do, and a lot of people don't know how to run paid Facebook ads. And what you do is you go to facebook.com/ads manager. Okay. You don't boost the post. You go to here. And this gives you all the tools that you really need to uh, um, make sure this is the right right account. Um, it gives you all the tools you need to really adjust it. And I'll show you how to track it well, because you want to know down to the dollar how much you spent and then how much you made. It's an investment vehicle. So you click on this green create button here, and then the first decision is what campaign objective you want. And I always choose leads. And that gives you a couple different options, forms or messenger. If you are a beginner, you start with messenger and it can work. And so you go here, and I recommend that you turn on Advantage Campaign Budget and you set your daily budget. And if you're a complete beginner, I recommend $10 a day. When you realize that every dollar you spend, you make about $6, how much money would you spend? There's a question. If I built you a machine that every dollar you put in, $6 came out, how much money would you put in the machine? You guys still there?
Yeah. Say that again.
If I build you a machine where every dollar you put into it, $6 comes out, how much money would you put in the machine?
Yeah, as much as we could, or, what was ever reasonable in our budget.
Correct. As much money as you can. So you start off with $10 a day to see, is this really a machine that spits out more money? But once you get proof that it is, then you increase your ad spend, which is what all my clients do. So $10 is to prove to yourself that this is a machine, and that's the way you should look at your business. It's a machine that I put money into it, and more money comes out of it. That's the way that we invest in our business. And so you look at your total investment in your business, and you want more to come out of it. And this is how I look at my paid Facebook ads. After I set the budget here, I click next, and then I have to choose. And if you're just beginning, choose Messenger. What that means is that if somebody clicks on your ad, it's going to just send you a message. Um, then you got to choose your targeting. So you scroll down, and the first thing you want to do is put your location in. And this is a really good way if you're looking at different like areas you want to operate in. You want to know how many people are within a 25-mile radius of you, and this is the best way to do it. So you can type in your address or your town, which would work just fine. For me, I'm in Woodbine, Maryland. And then you can set, you see how um, there's like a circle. And then over here, you see how there's the estimated audience size. This means I'm never gonna run out of prospects. There's 2 million people. A lot of times people choose areas that are so rural. You want to riding, and you don't want to be in a horsey area. I don't think you want to be in Ocala. Like you want to be the only riding school in an urban area. That's like how you make it easy. If you want to make it hard for yourself, move to Ocala. And everybody's got I've never seen so many horse farms. If you want to make it hard for yourself, go somewhere really rural where there's only 50,000 people in 25 miles. If you want to make it hard. So honestly, with the lesson program, you don't even need to target. You can just be in the right geographic area and advertise to everyone. Because what I found is like everyone wants to get into horses, guys. If I only have to pay $395 a month, I don't have to buy the horse. I have no risk of horse ownership. I never get a vet bill. Sure, like you can pitch that to everybody. And look, not even with 80-90% of the people saying no, you still build a great business. You still add 5 clients as long as you're talking to 20. And that's what you guys, every other industry knows this, that they're just constantly getting rejected as they build their business. So, but if you do want to target, which you might, um, the audience that I really recommend you target is what you want to do is switch to original audience. So you can leave it now, and Facebook will automatically use artificial intelligence and target um, uh, for you. Like you can just click on this, and um, but I recommend you do it yourself. And in detailed targeting, you click edit, and then you click parents. This is where Aaron got all our clients. Now, let's see here. I'm actually going to delete this and switch to original audience options. And uncheck this box. And again, I want to advertise to all the parents in my area as one of my audiences. And you can see my audience size went from 2 million to 200,000. So about 10% of the people in your area are probably parents. Um, but it's a really good audience. And you want your ad and your audience to match. A lot of times people don't do this. They advertise to everybody, and then their audience is their ad is kind of generic. Like, we work with everybody, and then it speaks to nobody. So, but if I target the parents, guess what my ad is going to say? The other thing that you can do is the placements on Facebook for your first campaign. Um, let's see here. Um, I like to do manual placements, which means I get to choose where on Facebook, because Facebook has like so many different things. They also own Instagram, so you can just automatically um, advertise on both Facebook and Instagram with the same ad. Um, but I think for starters, you might just do the feed, right? And so you uncheck all these other boxes, and you're just going to advertise to parents in your area. Um, in the feed. Now it's time to write the ad. And so what you do is in primary text, you write attention parents, right? That's what I mean by that's the first thing. And you start with value. What I mean by that is you start with, did you know that horseback riding lessons help children develop more empathy, assertiveness, confidence? How valuable is that? Don't just say horseback riding lessons. No one really wants horseback riding lessons. What do they really want? They want a kid that is confident. You can go on and on too, right? Also helps them make new friends. What else, guys? Do your horseback riding lessons help children do?
Keeps them off their phone.
That's a huge one. Yeah. Get off their screens. My God. Does anybody here have kids? That's a great one. We use that in our ads all the time. That could be the only one. But how many parents want to get their kids off their screens and on a horse? That's a great ad. Holy smokes. So now this people buy when value exceeds price. So I like to start with this because the value of this is very, very high, right? You could also attack it from a negative. Great horseback riding school helps keep kids out of trouble. I talk to a lot of parents who say the reason I'm here and paying all this money. I talked to a parent last weekend, and she said the reason I'm here paying all this money is I'd rather pay you than pay lawyer fees and rehab fees and having my kid get in the wrong crowd. Now, if you run a Walmart riding school and you pay $40 a lesson, and like some of these programs end up with like the wrong crowd, right? So sometimes when you charge more, you end up with a little bit better crowd. And 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 so like this particular client I talked to paid a lot of money, and uh, she was saying that in her area, I was visiting a client in Texas, and they said that in her area, the public school, the parents and the kids were awful, and she pulled her kids out. She homeschooled them, and this is now her community, and she loves the people that she's around. They're better mentors, right? Better people that she wants her kid being influenced by. So yeah, I'm willing to pay any amount for that as a parent. So that's, you start with all this value, and then your offer, and then you can say, look, we provide the horse, the equipment. the instructor, the facility, everything. What do you provide? You provide the most important part. Um, so now I'm like, this is pretty turnkey. What is it going to cost me to get my kid out of trouble and grow up correct, confident, have self-esteem, make friends, all the things I'm trying to do as a parent and failing at. Um, get started today. Um, and always run a special, you know, are only $75. And then here put like normally 95, right? And you give a reason. Um, what is it? Um, specials and promotions. Think of like a fraternity, right? Like you always want to throw a party. And so they're like, oh, it's a toga party. Oh, it's like Thursday party. Like they whatever. Like they just come up with any reason to throw a party, any reason to throw a promotion. Okay. People love a promotion. So we just want to get an intro lesson paid for, and then we'll pitch subscription after. Don't pitch your monthly subscription. If you put $3.95 a month in here, no one clicks. So we start, it's like dating. So we start off by making it slow, right? Like the first time I met my wife, I just got her, we were speed dating. So I just got her contact information. Then we just got a drink. Then we got dinner, right? If I told her when I first met her, I'd like her to move in with me, like it's too much too soon. And getting clients is the same way, is you scare them off if you talk about moving in. You scare them off if you talk about getting married. Now, it's just like dating in that if you don't talk about that, you've been working with somebody for 6 months and you haven't told them it's time for them to take 2 lessons a week, they'll leave for that reason too. So you can go too slow, you can go too fast. You got to go just right. After six after 6 months, you got to be at least asking for two. The same way if you're dating, if you're not moving the relationship forward, it'll die. And 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 there comes a point in the client journey where if you're not getting in front of them and telling them they really need to increase the relationship, move it forward, cancel their other stuff, and go to 2 lessons a week, start riding every day, then they quit. And so that's a big difference where I say upgrade or die, right? Move the relationship forward or it dies. But at this point in the game, don't don't go for anything more than a single lesson, and really, uh, you know, be careful about trying to get somebody in a monthly program off the internet. They don't even know if it's a scam yet. They want to come there in person and see you. After the lesson, they're on cloud nine if you do it right, and they'll pay $3.95 a month right after that lesson. And then after 6 months, you have goal setting meetings, you knock their socks off. Now, a good program, it starts off with the promise. The ad, you got to make this big promise in the ad. This is a big promise. Now, a business is fulfilling that promise. So if you really did get them more empathetic, more assertive, more confident, if you really did get them off their screens and you really did help them make new friends, then they're ready. Then they're like, okay, I'm all in. So it's promise making and promise keeping is the business. So after you write that ad, um, AI will give you like all sorts of like different ways of framing it. You make a headline, which is, you know, learn to ride horses, and you choose an image. So you go back up here and you choose an image or a video. And better creative is really great. Like get a good camera out there, get a photographer, get one of your clients to make little videos, and uh, there's a ton of other things you can do when you get better and better at this. But you know, that's like this is like kind of a decent image, um, but better and better images. And then you hit publish, and then you know the way that you track it is you really hope, and we see this with consistency. I've done this so much that I make all my clients track it because they always tell me, "Oh, it's not working," and I'm like, "Okay, talk to me about what you mean by that." Um, and they're like, "Well, the last four people I talked to said they weren't interested," and I'm like, "Well, let it run for a month and tell me how." And then usually you get like 80% of the people aren't going to do anything, maybe more. Um, and so you track the amount you spend and how many messages did you get, and what was your cost per message. Should be about $10 you spend, you get a message. And then how many people signed up for an intro? So here's somebody that spent $70, got 16 messages. Um, but this is what I mean. She's like, only three people signed up. I got 16 messages. I'm like, that's fine. That's fine. That 13 people told you you're crazy to ask $75 or whatever. It's fine. But three people did sign up. And out of those people that signed up, two people enrolled in a subscription. I see these numbers all the time. Um, and even people with these results tell me as soon as the results drop below that for like a day, they're like, I'm turning this off. You got to let it kind of run, and look at it like at least by the week, preferably like let it run for a whole month and really see what you get. And um, if you spend $70 and you get two people that are paying you 300 a month or more, printing money. And most people are printing money with my ads. And they got three people that paid them 75. So you got, three times 75 in cash and two people that are paying you 300 a month or more indefinitely. We only spent $70. That's what I mean about a machine. But looking at this, it becomes really clear. I've created a machine where I put a dollar in and $6 comes out, but the actual day-to-day experience of it is brutal. It's just brutal because you're dealing with humans on the internet and they're mean and like it's brutal and it's a ton of rejection. These people, like 13 people here rejected you, and one person rejected you, and rejection hits the same part of your brain. It hits like it feels like you're going to die when you get rejected. And I think this is because, according to my anthropology classes in college, back in the day, you were in like a hunter-gatherer tribe. And if they kicked you out of that tribe, you probably were going to die. So your brain has created this thing. It's like, do not get rejected, Brian, or you're going to get kicked out of the clan and you're going to die. So living it um, emotionally, I feel like I'm going to die and I turn this ad off. Um, but if I can at least look at it with like my frontal lobe and realize I'm printing money, then I can just like suffer, but not financially. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Aaron,
Okay. So I was gonna say I had a question just about the so what's the difference between like spending $70 a month or $60 a month versus $10 a month in terms of does that just affect how wide it spreads the ad? Like what's the difference between the money spent per month or per advertisement?
Yeah, it's directly related to the impressions you get.
Okay.
Every time that your ad shows up, they call that an impression on somebody's feed. And
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes, like it's very linear. So once you realize these numbers, this particular client like just crushed. You shouldn't expect to spend that every $35 you spend, you get a client. But you'll once you kind of get the rough, and a lot of this is going to get into, I'll get into too, like what happens after the click is more important than getting the click. The way I wrote that ad, you'll get clicks. The way I did that targeting, you get clicks. You'll get messages. Now, the way that I respond to the messages, how fast I get to that lead, if you get back to it within a minute, you're exponentially better to book a client. If I get back to it with a smile and an emoji and I'm interested in them, I'm asking them a question. Do you have any experience? Um, awesome. How old's your kid? Okay, wonderful. And like I'm flirty and nice, then I'm getting clients. I run ads for people and then I look at the way they respond. 24 hours later, do you want a lesson or not? You know, not getting clients. So this is just the very beginning of it. The way that you respond, how often you respond. Hey, just seeing, are you still there? Are you still there? Are you still there? You got to do that. You got to chase these leads down. So, but assuming that you're really good, you respond quickly, or you've got an executive assistant that responds really quickly, really flirty, really, really great script, asks questions, hand schedules lessons, doing everything right, which I can guarantee you guys aren't. And I guarantee you don't have an executive assistant that does it right, or even have an executive assistant. But assuming you did, which we set all this up for Aaron, then you'll kind of find your cost to acquire a client is pretty much fixed. It'll go up a little bit, but it might be, even if it's every $150 you spend, you get a client that pays you 300 a month indefinitely, then you just kind of reverse engineer it. How many clients can I actually take a month? And it should be about like 5 or 10. So you multiply your cost to acquire a client by how many clients you want each month. And that's your ad spend. It's a client machine where the constraint, when I earlier told you how much money would you put in, well, as much as possible. And so you say, well, how many clients can I actually take a month? If I gave you 100 clients this month, your business would break and people would be writing you bad reviews. If I got you 5 clients this month, which is a nice pace of growth, let's get 5 clients a month for 20 months, right? That's kind of what I tell people to do. Get 100 clients, kind of what Aaron did. Get 100 clients and you're going to write me a nice review. And right, because they're all paying you $395 a month. I'll tell you the other problem that happens is churn, because if you don't fix retention, then at a certain point you'll kind of level out at 40 lessons a week, because 10, 4 drop off and 4 come on, and you're just stuck at 40. And so we'll talk about fixing retention if we have time. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah. Yeah.
Any questions? Okay.
No.
Okay. So now we've gotten her leads, and some of the software that we helped her set up was Stripe. That's what we use. The other benefit of Stripe. Here's Stripe. Um, the other benefit of Stripe is not only that auto charging everybody $395 a month, is they'll lend you money, like with a click of a button, because they see how much money you get. Like Stripe will lend me 150,000 right now. It's just kind of an extra perk of it. Um, and the way I would repay that back is they would because they're getting all my money, they would just automatically take 22% of everything that comes in for me going forward, until they get their money plus 18,000 over like the next 10 months. So a lot of people a lot of people are like, oh, I want to buy my own place or I need some money. I can't get a loan, da 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 da. You know, and everybody's like, oh, no, I never want to pay credit card fees and et cetera. But the credit card fees I pay, which are about 3.5%, um, most of my clients, I raise their prices by like 50%. And I'm not doing invoicing. So a lot of clients I meet, they're like, I'll never pay credit card fees, Brian. You'll never convince me. Like 3.5%, like get lost. But then I look at their business and I'm like, well, how much time are you spending invoicing? Well, I don't spend any time. I hired somebody to invoice. Well, what are you paying them? And like, it's more than 3.5% to chase down your money. So, and the other thing too is clients spend more when you accept credit cards. They spend more with you. I have my clients' credit cards on file. I can auto charge them anytime I want. I'll get that privilege taken away from me if I abuse it. But a client, I'm like, oh, you want to upgrade? Okay, cool. You want to use the card on file ending in 7515? Great. I'll set that up for you. You're all set. No, not going to send you an invoice that you have to pay. I mean, I've still got stacks of mail, people that want my money. Like, I'm not that motivated to go open it and write a check and put it in the mail. But the businesses that are smart enough to have my credit card are getting their money instantly. And I'm spending more with them. Every time I write a check, I consider canceling that thing. Like, I hate this. It's emotionally painful for me to write a check. Or worse, you want my cash? Ouch. Here it is. But it's emotionally painless. I don't even know some of the people I'm paying. Like, I have to go through. I'm like, what was this? Um, we want to kind of be like that when you're charging clients. So that's Stripe. Um, in terms of, and it integrates with everything. So it integrates with her website. Her website that we helped her build, um, it's integrated. Everything's integrated with the software. We have our own proprietary software. It's called Impulsion.io. Builds her website. um, and I'll show you my website. Um, it's all integrated. And so you can book, pay, schedule, fill out a form, do online signature all in one software. And again, this isn't like everything, but anybody can build a website where it's like images and texts and buttons. But what makes a website kind of next level is clients feel it, they can pay it, and it's all integrated. They can do the online signature, and um, see here, it's going a little slow. They can do online signature, and then it integrates with the chat feature too. So like they can automatically, there's automations in here. So after they book a lesson, it automatically sends them reminders and text messages, and then my executive assistant picks it up on her end. It looks like this on the back end. So go to my riding school. Um, as soon as somebody books something, and I think my internet is struggling with the Zoom a little bit, but I can see, all my lessons that are coming up. I can see the conversations that are happening, and my executive assistant can be plugged into this and respond to this. Um, and I can monitor it. But if you don't have like a cloud-based software for communications, website and scheduling, it becomes really hard to hire somebody to do it for you. It's just everything's run off your phone. So we moved her to the system, got her website dialed in, her scheduling on here, her payments on here, her calendar on here. And this is a job, and getting this set up for a lot of people is overwhelming. That's why I don't start with it, because if I start with it, you just get overwhelmed trying to figure it out, and then your business doesn't change. So we change your pricing, your advertising, keep things simple. But then when you get to this, the big lever that we pulled for her after implementing all this is hiring this executive assistant that we trained, we hired. They know how to use the software, better than she does, and run it all for her, do all her scheduling, do all her client communications. The advertising is evergreen. It's running all the time. Her executive assistant is enrolling the clients, and then she trained her riding instructors to do the teaching, and then she's still profiting, 10 to 30,000 every month owning this whole system. So that's kind of the case study, and I want to open it up for questions if you have any. And then, she's still got training clients, and she can teach as much or as little as she wants to. She can work with the interesting people. And everything, every day you wake up and you try to make each system even better. It's not like you implement it and you're done. But getting up to, good enough in every category quickly, and then just making it better and better and better and better, better and better and better and better, better and better and better and better. Um, and finding the constraint. Do I need another lesson horse? Do I need another riding instructor? Do I need another arena? Do I need another location? Because the real opportunity when you get really good at business, and this is what I said the last presentation, is really, um, your horse skills plus your business skills are equal to your financial success. I thought that just having horse skills, that it was just horse skills equals financial success. We know that's not true, because the real opportunity when you really learn this is you put a manager in place that now can run this whole system, and the property's cash flowing. Like, I love it if you can own your own place, and you're paying the mortgage with lessons. So it kind of makes sense when Stripe will give me 150,000. Maybe I'll put that on a down payment on a struggling riding school near me, and put a manager in place, implement my system, and I can pay the mortgage. I can pay the mortgage with 80 people paying me $395 a month, and I can hire a good team to run the whole thing, and I can have three attractive pieces of real estate, and that's the wealth creation. Is, and there's the freedom. I've got a manager that's running, and you get economies of scale. If you've got three facilities, I'm going to renegotiate deals with vendors. Um, my executive assistant can book lessons for all three. And even if I'm just paying the mortgage, I've got three pieces of real estate appreciating, and I'm gonna appreciate that when I'm an old man, and I sell them all, and there's my wealth. Whereas the average riding instructor with no business skills, like, has nothing to show for their career financially, and that is heartbreaking, because they also sacrifice a lot: their relationships, their spouse, their kids. They worked with everybody's kid except their own, and it's heartbreaking. I've seen that a lot, and that's why I exist, is to teach you all those things that you're probably missing. Um, so that's what I have for you today.